All right, here we go. Friday Q&A. Listen, I love this topic. Okay, so this is going to be pretty passionate. This is going to be probably a little long-winded, but I hope you stick around because there's going to be some nuggets, all right, especially for you parents. So, quick backstory. The reason I got into this industry, in this field of work specifically, is one, it changed my life as a kid, both from a confidence standpoint, an identity standpoint, if you will, but also it has saved me from getting probably 3 or 4 surgeries that would have been pretty tough to recover from, and I'm gonna kind of dive into that right now. So the whole point of this video is kind of talk about when do I rest versus when do I continue to try to work around an injury. So there seems to be 3 options people see. It's like I either gonna take all the time off, wait for it to feel better, and I'm gonna start up again. I'm going to train through it and make it worse, which usually happens, or I'm gonna train around it, improve other qualities of my physical athleticism while I let this thing heal, and I do stuff that's gonna kind of hopefully speed up that recovery process. I played sports my entire life, mostly one though. And most of the time when I was playing, I stopped weight training. I didn't start really seriously weight training until I was about 16. But when I finally started to weight train in season and around the calendar year and fit it in around my practice, that was the first time in my life that I never got hurt. And so, I mean, basically from my sophomore year of high school through my college days, I was hurt with either something minor that would nag the whole season, or it was major and it took me off the field completely. Broken my back twice, hip flexor, hamstring issues, like being a soccer player, like my groin and my quad was never right. It always held me back. Busted my shoulder really good. So this stuff's near and dear to me because I wish someone would have grabbed me by the face and shook me silly and told me not to rest and not to train through it, but train around it. Something I think that's kind of guided our methodology here at the Optimal Performance Training Center is we have ways to hopefully kind of train people around pain. Great example of this is we have an athlete right now who is going to states today for golf with a torn ACL. She tore her ACL back in the springtime, elected not to get surgery, asked if we could kind of help keep her healthy enough to get through and play golf. And this is something we kind of said we could do our best with. And she made it to states, and she's basically on one leg. She came in twice a week and trained from the springtime on all the way through. I mean, she's been with us for almost 2 years now, absolute stud. That being said, we never made it worse for her. That's really all you can hope to do when you have something enormous like that. Now, the nature of this video, we're gonna talk about those little nagging injuries, okay? Because if I do have something serious like a tear or something that's broken or requires surgery, I'm obviously gonna refer out to my good friends over at Haltz Jepson PT here in town. They do a phenomenal job, and they work closely with us now, so we're pumped to kind of have them as a referral base. But if I get something that's going to be kind of like people would consider painful or sore in terms of like feet, knees, ankles, hips, shoulders, elbows, there's a lot of stuff that I see on a daily basis that can almost be fixed immediately, but people will take the time to take 4 to 6 weeks off just because their primary care doctor told them, hey, you need to rest, this will feel better. And that's pretty much the worst thing you can do. I think there's just not a lot of education around this. So people will often think that just because one thing hurts, well, we can't do everything, we might as well just do nothing. That's basically like saying, hey, I'm gonna give you $10,000. You can't spend five of it, so you might as well not spend any of it. And so to me, working around these things, finding ways to kind of switch what the focus is during a time of kind of working around an injury or finding ways to even almost kind of improve the recovery of that injury, that becomes the priority versus, hey, let's just go ahead, let's lay down, take a couple weeks off, come back, and literally try to rebuild ourselves up. So if you think about it, we kind of have a baseline of performance. All right, if I take 6 weeks off, that baseline is going to decrease. Okay, so not only am I now hurt and recovering from that, but everything. So if I have a left knee that hurts, I take time off, my entire body gets weaker and slower. And then it's like, okay, now I need to get back up here and play. And more often than not, what people will do is they'll take 6 weeks off, and then they say, hey, it's been 6 weeks, I'm gonna go play and expect to be up here, when in reality, there needs to be kind of a gap or a bridge here to bridge the gap so that you don't get hurt again. And more often than not, what happens is people do not take the time to properly bridge that gap. They end up getting hurt again, or this issue seems to never go away. And like, you get people with chronic low back pain when they're 15 and 16 years old, and they're like, this doesn't make any sense. Same with a bunch of kind of, you get your volleyball, basketball players who are always complaining of sore knees, baseball players, softball players, elbow, shoulder problems. More often than not, very easy fixes, and rest is rarely ever the answer to that. I know us here personally, we kind of pride ourselves on our ability to kind of work around these things and hopefully intervene in a very hands-off kind of self-giving way. And what I mean by that is basically we can give our athletes the tools to kind of almost help themselves, and give them the ability to kind of monitor and check in with themselves to see, hey, is this getting better? Is this getting worse? Can we kind of give them drills at home to do that more often than not fix the issues within a matter of either, if it doesn't get fixed on the spot, it will go ahead and within a week kind of clear out some of these what we call overuse injuries. That's going to be whatever doctor tells you. There's tendonitis, there's tendinosis, there's something going on where they think it's inflamed. Rarely is that ever the actual case unless you're going to go get an MRI done for tendonitis, which nobody really does. There needs to be kind of just a different thought process around this. So getting back to my point, when I get someone with an injury, my first thing is don't stop training. If it hurts, don't do it. That's kind of rule number one. But in my mind, it's like, hey, with this young lady I'm working with now, we still have 3 other body parts we can train pretty intensely. And believe it or not, the research is pretty clear on it. You get about a 60% transfer of the positive training effects you get. So strength, circulation, the hormonal process, the lymphatic process, everything. If I were to do only right arm curls the rest of my life, 60% of that positive benefit would transfer to the left side of my body. Pretty cool stuff. People don't really think about that, but it really is sometimes. It's not ideal, obviously, but when you're working in a pinch, this stuff can really change someone's life, and it can really kind of speed up the recovery process because everything about the body is one massive system. All right, it's not just I'm not cut off at the limbs. All right, and nothing works independently of the entire body. It's all connected. So when you stop it, when you shut it down, it's like parking your car in the garage and just expecting that in 6 weeks to 6 months that I can just turn it on, everything's going to be good to go. No, if it's more often than not, it's going to be probably pretty slow to start. It's going to need some work under the hood. You're going to have to check the fluid levels, everything like that. And so for me, I'm always going to be a big proponent of trying to work around something, keep people moving, keep people grooving. That's going to be incredibly beneficial for speeding up processes. Time off, unless it is a serious neurological issue where you have numbness, tingling, and loss of function, or if you have a serious break that needs immediate repair, or a variant kind of a grade 3 muscle tear, you probably need some serious medical help and surgery even. But outside of that, there's a lot of things you can do within a training space, within a practice space even, to kind of return to play quickly and not really lose nearly as much than if you were to rest. I hope this makes sense, and I hope this kind of stirs up some general questions as well, or some more specific questions. As I said, this video was very general in nature. No one really asked about a specific injury, but I'm hoping if anyone out there is injured or is working around something or through something or is resting right now, that they would kind of reach out, and hopefully we can get some follow-up questions to this. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Have an awesome weekend. Beautiful weather at night. Looking forward to a good weekend. Hope you guys are too. See ya.